Hey everybody, so I wanted to do the movie review about Emanuel. This movie was sent to me by Crystal, and her channel name is Life with Crystal. And she gave me the movie to watch and then let everybody know how I felt about the movie. First off, if you don't know what the movie is about, I'll briefly tell you quickly what it is, what the storyline. Basically, there is a young girl named Emanuel, and she's a young girl, I would say maybe 18, and she lives with her father and her stepmother. And in the movie, as it evolves, you learn what happened to Emanuel's real mother. And there is another character who is played by Jessica Biel. She is a neighbor that moves in next door to Emanuel. And I was really surprised, first of all, of the actors that played in this movie. I was expecting it to be no-name actors, and there was quite a few actors that I knew and recognized and seen them in other movies, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. So basically, this young lady moves in next door, and Emanuel instantaneously I wouldn't say has this obsession with her, because she looks very much like her mother who has passed away. Um, and so she kind of like looks at her in a different way, and she kind of is wondering who this lady is who moved in next door. She sees all this baby furniture being moved into the house, and she sees the neighbor wearing a sling, and there's a baby in it. And so, of course, people are already talking about the new neighbor, wanting to know like how old the baby is and stuff like that. And so I guess the stepmother heard that she needed a babysitter, and Emanuel volunteered to babysit. Now, Emanuel is a very interesting character. She is very outspoken. She has, I wouldn't say, how do I put it? And excuse my French. She's very much of a smartass. And she says things in the movie that are shocking. Like, you would say that in front of your father. But you'll see more when you watch the movie. And she's just a very misunderstood child, and she's trying to find her path in the world and trying to figure out why she is on this earth. So, anyway, she signs up to be the babysitter. And so she goes over and she meets the neighbor, and the neighbor is so sweet, and she's so soft-spoken and just a very sweet person and very motherly, as a mother would be who has a baby. And she comes inside and she says, I would love to be the babysitter. And they start talking, and she's like, okay, you can start at this time. And she's like, well, don't you think I should meet the baby? And the baby was upstairs, and she's like, no, not right now, she's sleeping and stuff like that. So basically the movie progresses, and she's watching the baby, but she never actually sees the baby. And they have these monitors through the house, baby monitors. And so I guess curiosity got the best of Emanuel, and she goes upstairs to take some laundry upstairs for the mother. And she can't help herself but to look inside the room to see what does this baby look like. And the baby in the movie is Chloe. That is her name. And so of course the nursery is cracked open, so she pushes the door open, and she's going towards the crib, and she looks inside, and there's this beautiful baby. And she reaches down to touch the baby, and she realizes that the baby is not real. And in that second, when she realizes that the baby isn't real, you should see her face. It's kind of like, what bizarro land did I just walk into? How do I handle this? Do I want to run? Do I want to scream? She doesn't know what to do. And it was so weird seeing a reborn laying in a bed and you're watching the movie and I'm holding Elwyn as I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's starting to get a little creepy. And I almost was like, oh, I don't know where this movie's gonna go. So, in walks the mother, and immediately Emanuel is just like stunned, and she's standing there, and she's like, "Oh, I heard her on the baby monitor. She's wiggling around and stuff like that. She does that." And so the mother picks her up, and she takes her to the changing table, and she starts to play with her and coo and kiss her hands, and she's an open-eyed reborn in the movie, and she turns to Emmanuel and she says, "Can you get me her monkey sleeper from the hall? That's her favorite." And Emmanuel is looking at her like, "Are you nuts? Like, do you not know this baby's not real?" You could tell in her mind that she's trying to process this. So she slowly walks to the hall and she's debating on running or going through with her request to get the sleeper. So she gets the sleeper, she hands it to the mother, and she just watches her put the sleeper on her, kiss her, hold her, nurture her. And so Emmanuel is trying to figure out like what is going on. I don't understand this, but I do understand it, kind of thing. And so she leaves. And so you see her character kind of evolve after that, and she's understanding what she has to do. And so the movie progresses, and she decides to, instead of tell this poor woman that the doll that she has is, or the baby that she has is not real, it's a doll, she goes along with the role playing. She continues to babysit this baby who's not real, and she continues to let this mother in her mind think that this baby's real. And in watching the movie, I can see the characters and each of them, the pain that they're going through. The mother who has lost a child and who cannot get over that. The daughter, or Emmanuel's character, who has lost a mother and can't quite understand why her mother died. Why did she have to die? You know, why do I have to be a daughter with on this earth with no purpose? What is my life? What is my meaning in this world? You can see the struggles of her character and Jessica Biel's character and how they were drawn to each other by their pain and by their hurt. As far as my personal take on the movie, I can relate, obviously, because my want and need for a child. As you guys know who have been a subscriber to me for a long time, I cannot conceive naturally a baby. So I am having to go through IVF. And I've had to do all kinds of other things to try to achieve to be a mom. And in that, I have had 2 miscarriages of my own. So I could relate to the mother who's being portrayed in this movie. Not to say that everybody who loses a child has a psychotic break and we all go Looney Tunes. We all handle our grief and our sorrow in different ways. And obviously this mother had a break. She had a mental breakdown of where she cannot get over the fact of this loss of her child. And that being, I didn't take it as, I had to take the reborn out of the story, even though the reborn was a character in itself. I had to look at the character of Jessica Biel and look at Manuel. I keep saying Manuel. Manuel, I always feel like I'm saying her name wrong. Anyway, look at her character and realize that it isn't about us real reborn moms. This movie, of course, is about something completely different. You know, it isn't a documentary portraying us, obviously. We all are in this hobby for all different reasons. And we all are of sane mind. We know that these babies aren't real. We don't treat them as they're real. But in this movie, it is being portrayed that this particular mother does treat this baby as it was real. And she is even showing in one part of the movie bathing the reborn in the sink in her kitchen. And this isn't a full body reborn. It's a reborn that has a cloth body, and the cloth body is submerged in the water, and she's washing the baby's hair. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she has no idea that this isn't a real baby because there's something mentally wrong with her. So I wasn't taking it as like we're all like that. Um, Now I know other people who watch this movie who don't even know what these reborn babies are about. Yes, they'll look at us as we're nuts and we're crazy and we all should be locked up. But that is how people are. They fear what they don't know in everything in life. Um, Sexuality, this hobby, race, um, disease. Everybody fears something. And when they don't know about it, they fear it even more. So, as I was watching the movie, I didn't take it as it portraying us or portraying our community or anything like that, because it was a completely different scenario. What these characters were going through was nothing that reflects on our hobby. Um, at the same time, yes, it is putting our reborn hobby out there. It's being exposed in that way. But that's why we have our community of women out here, that we all know the truth. We all know why we get into this hobby. We don't need to um, convince ourselves that we know these babies aren't real. But for others out there who are looking at our hobby and thinking that we're nuts and we're crazy, well, they're entitled to their opinion. Just like I'm giving this movie review, and there are certain people who have watched this movie and said, holy cow, it was too creepy, I didn't understand it, I couldn't finish it, I turned it off. Or who simply just didn't like it. That's what makes us human beings. We all have our opinion. And that's the beauty of this world. So every day, you just have to wake up and do what's right for you in your life, and if it makes you happy, then fine. Now, in this movie, like I said, she does have a mental problem, Jessica Biel, and that's unhealthy, and we all understand that. I'm not saying that I agree with, her treating the baby like that, because obviously that's unhealthy. But like I said, I didn't take a personal effect to it. I didn't think of it as being wrong or anything, because it's a movie and it's trying to show her grief and her pain, and what she's going through. So at the end, these two characters come together in a very sad but beautiful way to help each other get through their loss and their mourn. And the movie ends how it should end, I think. And I just really enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed the actors who played their parts in this movie. I thought they were great. It was just a really eye-opening video. Because I know there has been some times when I have looked at this hobby in my own personal way, and I have thought maybe I've gone a little too far, maybe I bought a little too many clothes, maybe I shouldn't have bought this or shouldn't have bought that for my reborn, because there is a very thin line between insanity, obsession, and this being just a normal hobby. And who is to judge how far you can go? Do you see what I mean? So that kind of opened my eyes a little bit on how we're perceived in this hobby, and how maybe our own family perceives us, or where our line in the sand is with this hobby. I know a lot of us out there love the role playing, the baby crying, and the day in the lives and stuff like that. And they really get into the acting part, and it's just acting, and I respect that, and I can see that. Some people out there think it's gross, they think it's disturbing, but I can appreciate all the hard work that goes into doing days in the lives, and having the reborns cry, and all the editing that's involved. I can respect that, because I'm a very open-minded, open heart person, There are a lot of closed-minded people out in the world who don't understand things. And I'm not like that. I have always kept an open mind and always looked at the book in a different way as you how am I going to say this? I don't judge a book by its cover. I always want to know what's underneath that cover, like what makes that person tick, and understanding them. So I enjoyed the movie. I personally liked it. It was a little bit of a dark movie. Um, it may be hard for some people to understand because it is very strange, but I tend to like those kind of movies, so it kind of was right up my alley, and I could see the beauty in the movie. Um, but like I said, I don't think it is at all the rep I'm getting tongue tied, representing us as a community. It had nothing to do with us as a community, I felt. Um, and will there ever be the right movie or the right documentary portraying us? No. Not unless all of us make our own mini clip and we all paste them together and put that out in the world, will our true story ever be told. Um, because we do have so much back history, each one of us, and why we choose to be reborn moms. So, the world is just not ready for us, ladies. They're not ready for our hobby, and that's all there is to it. Um, will they ever be accepted? Will these reborns ever be opened with, you know, open arms and accepted? I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. I hope the world would be accepting and understanding. But the more that we get our reborns out there, the more that we educate people on this hobby, the more they understand us, the more they realize that it isn't what is portrayed on TV or in a movie or a documentary. To me, I don't like the documentaries that are out there about our reborns. I think it's very one-sided, those documentaries. I think they show us as being very obsessive over this hobby, and that all of our time and energy is wrapped up in this community and in these dolls, and that's just not true. You know, there's so many different layers to this hobby, and all the beautiful people who are involved in this community and who we truly, truly are. But it was very interesting, and I really appreciate it, Crystal, you sending me this movie and letting me watch it. Otherwise, I would have known nothing about this movie. And I'm very happy to be one of the reborn moms that got to watch it and make a review on it. I do recommend it. I think it's just a great movie, all in all. I really enjoyed it, and I thought the reborn in the movie was very pretty. I don't know who the artist of that reborn was or who is the sculpt of that baby. The sculpt was very pretty. You could tell like it wasn't a very highly detailed reborn, but it was pretty all in all. But I just thought it was cool that a reborn was in a movie, regardless how it was being portrayed. I just thought it was kind of cool that a reborn was in a movie. I thought that was pretty neat. But like I said, this movie won't be for everybody. And but I think it's at least watch it, at least give it a chance, and see what you think about it. If you do want to take part in watching this movie, you can contact Crystal. I know I said for you guys to contact me, but Crystal may have a list of people who want to watch this movie, and I really need to check with her first to see who I have to send this movie to next. Maybe you guys get in contact with her and get on the list, if there is one, to be sent this movie to. And if you do get this movie, please make a review, make a video about it, because I would definitely love to hear what you guys thought about it. I know Mouthy Girl made a review on this movie. I have not watched her review yet because I wanted to watch the movie first and kind of not know anything about the movie. So I'm going to go back and watch her review and see what she thought about it, because I'm very interested in hearing how she thought. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this review. Again, thank you, Crystal, for sending me the movie, and I will be in contact with you on who is the next person to receive this movie. So, okay, guys, if you want to check the movie out, get in contact with Crystal and just leave her a PM asking how to get on the list, if there is one, like I said, and hopefully you can get the movie and watch it and make a review. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and I am going to have some more cuddles with Elowen before I have to start my babysitting job here. And yeah. All right, guys, have a great day. We love all of you guys. Bye.